Coffee and convo, y'all. Let's get it. Yo, salute to everybody already here in the building, man. You guys know what time it is. I am back. Welcome to the latest installment of Coffee and Convo. I am your host, Graphk Raider, man. Salute to the greatest chat in YouTube history. As always, make sure you wipe them feet. That means get those likes up, and also hit that subscribe button if you guys are not subscribed yet. Again, thank you so much for getting the channel to 30,000 subscribers. Because of you, we were just able to hit another crazy milestone. Expect a 30K show here very, very soon, you guys. Stu has some business to attend to with the NFL. Once he clears all that stuff up, we're going to run a 30K giveaway, just to give back to the nation, because again, you guys are the greatest. And salute to Green Dot Gang, heavy in the building as well. Just been, baby. Pablo, my sis Erica, George, Nada, Big Tone. I see you guys, man. Anthony, Hizzle, appreciate you guys so much. Ron Justice. As always, if you guys want to become Green Dot Gang, hit the link. It's pinned up top. It definitely helps us keep the lights on over here. Had the family over, man. Salute to my nephews, man. Got a chance to have them over here for the last 2 or 3 days. So took a little breather. We were kind of running hot, man, these past few weeks over here at OLV Raiders Network and just chill more as a whole. Took a few days off, man, to unwind and spend some time with the family. But we are back, you guys, this week. Content galore. We are about to jump into our draft bag. We're still going to speak about free agency. We still have about roughly, I think, $24-25 million right now, according to Over the Cap. And there are some ways we can free up some more money here soon. Also, we had some breaking news just a few minutes ago, you guys. We did go out and sign a linebacker, special teams demon. We're going to talk about him here in a second as well. I believe he led Indianapolis in special teams tackles from 2022 to 2025. So again, we added some more value there to the special teams unit, which we desperately needed. I'm excited to see what he can do out here in the mix. We're going to talk about him here in a second. Salute to Anthony. Congrats to 30K, bro. I appreciate you, man. Salute to you. Thank you so much on the $20 smackaroony, my brother, man. Salute. Alzado, this is facts, brother. Ant, man, appreciate you again. We blocked punt in the Colts game last year. Yes. And let's get to it. I'm going to share this real quick, you guys. Boom. Let me get to what we're doing here right now with our new signing. Raiders broke the news, got the text message. Definitely wanted to talk about this. Boom. Raiders went out and signed Sagan Alubi, linebacker, over from the Indianapolis Colts. For those who are not in the know of who he is, he's still really young. I believe he's only 26 years old. Last year, total tackles 11, 9 solo, special team tackles 11. All his tackles came from the special team side of things. 1 forced fumble, 1 block punt. We know where that came from. I was there live to witness it. Again, 51 games played in his entirety of his career, 20 total defensive tackles in his career, 14 solo, 30 special teams tackle. He's the Colts leader from 2022 to 2025, like we just spoke about. 1 interception in his career, 2 forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries, and 2 block punts. 1 came on AJ Cole, and the other one, I believe, was the Texans a year or so ago as well. former San Diego State product. Again, I like this. We can add some depth there to the linebacker position. We already added Nakobe Dean, Quay Walker. We got Tommy Eichenberg. We have Cody Lindenberg in the mix as well. Bring in Sagan Alubi, another guy that, once again, will add a ton of value there in the special teams department. I like the move. Again, man, good situation. Young kid, recorded 5 tackles and his first career interception in his first NFL start back in 2023 against the Panthers. So again, this could be another situation, you guys, where he just needs an opportunity to get rolling in regards to the linebacker position. But again, right now, I'm not going to sell this as some big move on the defensive side of football. This is a special teams addition who can add some depth there to the linebacker position. Again, Nakobe Dean has dealt with some injuries in the past. What do we have in Tommy Eichenberg and Cody Lindenberg at this point, right? Quay Walker in the mix as well, just signed through free agency. I like the move here. Another special teams demon to add into the mix. You love to see it. Salute to CGR. Congrats on the 30K. I appreciate you, my brother, so much. Salute to one of the GOATs, Fupa. You guys are already going absolutely crazy. My brother Fupa gifting 5. Ty, my brother, gifting 5. And then CGR gifting 5 as well. 15 new members already because of you guys, man. Salute to the 15 new members. Welcome to Green Dot Gang. Again, if you missed out on those 15, hit the link. It's pinned up top. Fupa, Ty, man, CGR, I appreciate you guys so much, man. Salute to Delano. Fire content. Salute to my guy Delano as well. Let me see. Yes, solid pickup. I agree. I think this is a really good special teams addition. Salute to Nick. Do you think Maxx is really going to be a Raider in 2026 or just raising trade value? I believe that he will be a Raider not only in 2026, but moving forward as well. So I hope that, kind of helps you sleep at night there a little bit, Nick. Again, I think that, the writing was on the wall when the whole Baltimore debacle happened. I think that he realized, man, home is Las Vegas, and it means that much more to win in a Raiders jersey. So I believe he'll be here for the long haul. Now, again, we will be getting calls, leading up to the draft process. Some team out there, i.e. the Dallas Cowboys, may miss out on, a potential premier edge rusher in the draft. They may come calling again and still offer that first and second. You never know. And then at that point, it's up to Spytech and company. But I believe that Maxx will be a Raider moving forward. And I think that he will retire a Raider as well. Congrats. God bless you to your family. And appreciate you, brother. Salute to my guy, Marcus, man. Real talk. Let me see. But again, you guys, salute to Sagan Alubi. He is now a Raider. Again, this is definitely a special teams addition here. It definitely adds some value there, potentially adds some depth at the linebacker position. We're moving to that 3-4 defense. We're going to need all hands on deck. And again, I believe that the Raiders will still go out and target 1 to 2 linebackers here in the draft as well. 1 potentially in the draft, and then 1 or 2 potentially UDFAs as well. But I do believe that we're not done at the linebacker position right now. We have Jamin Davis, I believe, on the practice squad right now. Now you got Sagan Alubi. You have Tommy, Lindenberg, Nakobe, Quay. We're not done adding to that room just yet. So stay tuned. I'm definitely pumped to see what they can put together here at that second level of our defense. Bro, imagine you're listening to this at work out loud and your boss hears Graphk say, "Thank you, Dibs." Yo, salute to my guy, Fupa, in the building. Salute to Winston. Maxx learned the Raiders treated him better as a 4th-round draft pick with a substance issue than the Ravens treated him as a dominant Pro Bowl defensive end, man. Salute to my guy, Winston. Again, man, I think that, my guy is a spiritual guy, God-fearing, and I believe that, he recognized when the situation went the way it went, the failed physical and kind of sent back packing on the jet. I believe that he just realized, this is God's plan. There's no reason for me to try and get traded elsewhere. I'm going to stick it out back at home, And again, he just built his dream home. His family is already comfortable out there. There's no reason, again, I think that this was a whole, it should have never happened in the first place. Again, I understand why Maxx was asking out. I also understand why the Raiders played the phone games and took some calls and sent them over there to Baltimore for 2 first-round picks. But again, I think the perfect situation. This is a win-win for him to remain a Raider. Thank you, Ty. Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you so much. Thank you. Let me see. Get your questions in, you guys. Again, this is Coffee and Convo. My apologies. I kind of lost my voice this weekend, so bear with me. But this is your guys' show, man. So get your questions in. We're going to have some fun. Hey, Graphk, quick question. Do you think Maxx posting the farewell video had anything to do with the Ravens reconsidering? In that video, he was talking about how much of a Raider he is in this. No, I do not. I believe that they had buyer's remorse. They didn't realize that Trey Hendrickson could possibly be a possibility out there. And again, you bring in a guy that can't play the run nowhere near that Maxx can, but again, a guy that has been able to get after the quarterback. I mean, back-to-back years, 17.5 sacks outside of last year, again, dealing with some injuries. But they wanted those 2 first-round picks. They wanted those back. I mean, they looked at Trey and they said, okay, we'll add him and then we'll just designate this situation as a failed physical so we can get our 2 first-round picks again. And I really, truly believe, JM as well, that Baltimore, I'm telling you here right now, this may be a hot take. I think that they're flirting with the idea of moving on from Lamar Jackson behind the scenes. I think that they wanted that 2027 first-round pick in a deep quarterback class. I think that they lost, some talent through free agency, and they were like, whoa, okay, maybe we may not be able to potentially, compete the way that we thought we were moving forward. And I really, truly believe they restructured Lamar Jackson. They did not extend him. I really believe that they're really flirting with the idea of possibly drafting his replacement next year. Lenore Sellers out of South Carolina, possibly a CJ Carr or one of those type of talents coming out in next year's class. Keep an eye on Baltimore potentially using the first-round pick next year to go locate their next quarterback of the future. Again, Lamar getting a little up there. What is he, 29, be 30 years old? And again, the injuries have piled up. That athleticism is going to continue to diminish, as he gets older. Father time is always, always on demon time. So again, I really believe that they wanted to get that future first back and potentially locate their quarterback of the future next year. So let me see. Graphk, can you show what potential defense will look like? We'll talk about it here in a second as well, Silver and Black. But I mean, again, we're not done just yet. They're still going to build this defense up through the draft, you guys. I really believe they'll go, potentially add 1 or 2 bodies tops on the O-line in the draft. You're going to have to add. This new mock draft that I did, Silver and Black, I took 2 wide receivers. Because again, right now, if we don't go out and get one of these veteran guys, a Deebo Samuel, a Jawan Jennings, a Stephon Diggs, I'm really, honestly, I love the young talent that we have at the receiver position. But again, when you're bringing in a guy like Fernando Mendoza at number 1, you have to surround him with as much talent as possible. And I added 2 bodies to that wide receiver group in this latest mock draft. And I'm going to show you here in a second. But again, I don't really want to go over the defense just yet. Completely until we're able to locate the nose tackle, right? Is Adam Butler going to be there? I'm not, I'm not thinking Adam Butler is going to be our nose tackle moving forward. JJ Pegues potentially. Again, he played nose at the collegiate level. Also played all across the defensive line. Played some fullback as well at Ole Miss. But again, we're not done yet. They're going to add another corner. They're going to add potentially another linebacker or 2. Guaranteed we're going to add some safety help. If Emmanuel McNeil, Warren is available there at 36, I'm running to the podium. We'll talk about what the defense will look like. But again, I don't think that they're really we're excited about what we have in the building right now, but we're going to be really, really, truly excited to see what this thing looks like once the draft is up. And honestly, I'm excited to see what some of these UDFAs look like this upcoming, of draft as well. Those phones are going to be ringing off the hook once the draft is complete. And we've seen, in recent years and in the past, UDFAs can definitely add value to NFL rosters. So I'm hyped. And I think that SpyTech is going to find some interesting talents out there through the UDFA movement as well. Let me see, 40-50, Zach Branch at 36. Honestly, I think that's too early. I really think it's too early, 40. Again, if he's available there late in the second and you want to move up and you're really high on him, they met with him already at the combine. Again, Cliff Branch's blood, his grandfather, his grandson. Again, he has the Raiders running through his bloodline, right? But again, I think it's too early at 36. I really, truly do. The only way I take a receiver there at 36 is if one of those guys, one of those first-round talents potentially drop. If Omar Cooper Jr. potentially drops to 36, you run to the podium to reunite him with Fernando Mendoza. Possibly, again, I'm not here to say that Jordan Tyson is going to fall to 36, but we've seen some crazy shit happen in the past. Some people are very worried about if he can stay healthy at the next level because he's already had injuries at Arizona State. Lemon's going to be nowhere near 36. But again, there may be some interesting talent. Chris Bell out of Louisville coming off that nasty injury, but 6'2", prototypical size at the wide receiver position. If he's available there at 36, they possibly pull the trigger if they're really content with his health moving forward. But again, if one of those guys are not there at 36, I am content with going best defender there available, whether it's nose tackle, safety, even possibly a corner. Even if I'm not going to go edge because Max is still back in the building. But again, McNeil Warren there, Cade McDonald out of Ohio State, big nose tackle. If he's available there, I'm definitely running to the podium. But again, possibly one of those offensive linemen dropped to 36. And maybe, just maybe, they think that Charles Grant isn't ready to go. Maybe they think that Grant is better suited at the guard position. And maybe they look at right tackle there. You never know. Daniel, possibly Denzel Boston is available out of Washington. The NFL bloodline is there with him as well at 36. If he's there and they're really high on him, I have no issue with that. I have no issue with that at all. Once again, you guys, breaking news today, the Raiders have went out and signed linebacker Sagan Alubi. And I know I'm butchering this. Sagan or Sagan Alubi, young linebacker, special teams demon coming over from Indianapolis. Again, led them in special teams tackles from 2022 to 2025. I really, really like this move a ton. He's 26 years old. Again, 6 foot, 233. We add some depth to that linebacker position before the draft. You love to see it. I'm seeing a ton of Colts fans on Twitter speaking about the situation. They're kind of pissed off. They really were high on him. So again, this is a good move. I like what SpyTech and company are doing through free agency. We just keep hitting it out the ballpark. This is definitely a sneaky move here. Again, you add Sagan, you add Quay, you add Nakobe. They have definitely addressed the second level of our defense, time and time again. I love it. I'm really, really hyped to see what this 3-4 system is going to look like out there with Rob Leonard running the show as the defensive coordinator. So salute to Sagan Alubi. Welcome to the nation. We are definitely hyped to have you in the building again. For those who are saying, oh, you're hyping him up, you guys do not understand how the severity of having a good special teams unit on your football team. Again, Seattle, great special teams unit. You've seen it in the playoffs. Great teams have great special teams units. You have to have a great, have to have a good offense, good defense, but you have to have every level needs to be good in order to make a playoff run and go out there and possibly win some games and get to a Super Bowl. And I like that, Parker. That was something I didn't even know. Alubi ran a 4.4, by the way. Let's go. Salute to my guy Parker in the building as well. Wipe them feet, hit them thumbs up, you guys. If you're not subscribed yet, what are you waiting on? Make sure to hit that subscribe button if you guys are not subscribed yet. I'm very high on Lee Hunter out of Texas Tech. Love him, Dan. Again, if he's available at 36, I'm here for it. I do believe that one team there in the 20s may possibly take a look at him, and we may miss out at 36. But if he's available there, the Raiders are high on him. They met up with him. Texas Tech Raider. We've seen it before. I know it hasn't really panned out with Tyree Wilson. Let's stop scouting the helmets here, you guys. Lee Hunter is a dog. Romello Height is a dog. He'll be available at some point in this draft as well. I would not be mad if we brought him in. We've talked about, Jacob Rodriguez, one of the best linebackers in this class. The only knock on him is he's undersized, but the kid can cover his ass off, get after the quarterback as well. I'm not going to scout the helmet because of Tyree Wilson. Lee Hunter's a dog. Jacob Rodriguez is a dog. Romello Height is a dog. So if he's available at 36, I have no issue at all with taking Lee Hunter. I know the Raiders are high on him. I've spoken to several people that represent the Raiders at the Combine, at the Shrine Bowl. Lee Hunter is definitely a target for this Raiders team moving forward. And I think that 36 would be that, that spot there where if he's the guy, they're going to take him there at 36. So, boom, let me get rid of this. All right. Best available free agents right now, you guys. Again, we have a very, very young wide receiving core. I'm going to bring this up real quick. Boom. Where is it right now? I don't know if they added Derek to the mix just yet. Let me see if they added him. Yep, they have. Okay. Boom. Let me share this real quick. Again, salute to everybody here in the building. As always, make sure you guys get those likes up and hit that subscribe button. Very, very young wide receiving core right now. You got Trey Tucker as a starter right now. Year. Again, on the last year of his deal right now, you got Dante Thornton in year 2, the Tennessee product, our guy, friend of the show, Philip Dorsett. Again, I don't see him on this roster at all. He is old, very, very much so up there in age. Again, possibly practice squad guy. He's been here a few times now, but I don't believe that he'll be on this roster moving forward. We went and got Jalen Naylor from Minnesota. I'm really, really high on him. He is going to be a starter, possibly there in a slot in 2026. You got Derek Young, special teams demon as well from Seattle, who could definitely add some value there as well in the at the wide receiver position. I'm not expecting too much, but again, maybe Kubiak can find a way to get him activated there in the receiving at the receiving position. Justin Shorter, Brendan Rice, two names that possibly won't be on this roster come day one. Shedrick Jackson, a guy that showed some signs of life for us at the wide receiver position last year. Going to be interesting to see if he can find a way to make this roster. Everyone knows Bo Jackson's nephew. But again, this wide receiver group is really, 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 really young right now. Jack Besh, second-year guy at TCU. I'm expecting big, big things from him. I want your guys' opinion on this, okay? Again, I'm not here to sell these aging wide receivers, all right? We know that Deebo Samuel has, a connection to Clint Kubiak, played under him in Santa Clara with the 49ers. We know that Juwan Jennings is, also has the connection there in that Shanahan system. A guy that was expecting to sign a $20+ million type deal this offseason. He was expecting to be one of the hottest commodities at the wide receiver position. He's still available. He'll be 29, once this season starts. But again, a guy that fits what Clint Kubiak loves to do at the wide receiver position. He does all the dirty work. Honestly, he really kind of reminds me of Jacoby, of Jacoby. We just traded him over to Jacksonville. I really believe, again, pretty much the same age as well, that 28, 29 range. It looks as though he's not going to cost you 20+ right now at this point because it's so late in the game in terms of free agency. But I want your guys' opinion on this. The best free agents available right now at the wide receiver position. Juwan Jennings, a guy that, again, does all the dirty work, blocks his ass off, one of the best blocking wide receivers in football. I'm expecting, this team to be really, really at least looking, if it's a 1-year, possibly 2-year deal, this could be a Michael Crabtree 2.0 type of situation for us. I know, again, you guys, I'm not selling Juwan Jennings as a wide receiver one. But if you brought him in right now, he's your best wide receiver in that group, unless Jack Besh, or Dante, or one of those guys in year 2 can come out and really, really go out there and go crazy. We know Brock Bowers is essentially our number 1 receiver. I understand that. But would you guys possibly bring in a Deebo Samuel, a guy that last year is not, he turned, I think 30, January 15th, I believe. I believe me and him share the same birthday. But again, he's not the same player that he once was. He had over 700 yards receiving last year with the Commanders, even with all the injuries, Jaden Daniels in and out of the lineup. When healthy, when in shape, Deebo is a special teams monster. A guy at this point, is possibly wide receiver 3 on a really good football team. On this team, he could possibly be a wide receiver 2 type guy. Again, a guy in Kubiak that can unlock kind of what Shanahan did with Deebo early on when they first drafted him, out of South Carolina, a guy that you can use in a run game. You can use in a run game. Again, I'm not here to act as though his body can sustain the same kind of abuse that he once did, when he was first, looked at kind of at the, with the Niners as kind of a running back, right? Like, I don't know if you guys remember when he was kind of holding out for that deal, they were trying to pay him low key like a running back. He was like, no, you got to pay me, like, you got to give me wide receiver money. Okay. At this point, would you guys bring in a Deebo Samuel, a guy that, again, Shanahan tree knows this system very well? Would you possibly bring in the Juwan Jennings, right? Or Stephon Diggs, a guy that, again, I know the off-field shenanigans doesn't sit right with a lot of people in Raider Nation. Again, the whole Cardi B situation. He's possibly looking at, some legal stuff off the field. I was told by somebody that I definitely trust that the Raiders were possibly looking to bring him in for, some type of sit down, some type of meeting. I believe I mentioned it to you guys several times. The Commanders, the Giants, the Titans, and the Raiders. Do you want to bring in a veteran wide receiver at this point? Or do you want to just go to the draft and get it rolling? Because, again, what if you can't find a potential wide receiver 1 early on? I mean, what if all those guys are gone at 36 and you're kind of forced to take the best player available there at the defense, on the defense side of the football? And let's just say you're sitting there in the 3rd round. Zach Branch is off the table. Malachi Fields is possibly off the table, a guy that I'm really high on out of Notre Dame. Then what? I think you need to add a veteran body to this room. I think you need to do that. Again, these guys are not going to be the same guys that they once were. Stephon Diggs coming off of another 1,000 yards receiving, coming off of a nasty injury as well, but a leader in that locker room, okay? A guy that can help, Mendoza, in year 1 and kind of be a leader in that locker room, next to Maxx Crosby and some of those other guys that we brought in through free agency. Juwan Jennings would probably be the number 1 target for me over Deebo, over Stephon Diggs, a guy, again, that it's not going to give you 1,000 yards receiving, but he does a lot of dirty work in the run game. He's not going to be that number 1 wide receiver for you. I mean, right now he'd possibly be ours because of, where are we at in terms of timeline with Jack Besh? Where are we at in terms of timeline with Dante Thornton? Will those guys be fully unleashed in year 2? Juwan Jennings, you guys, I would bring him in on a 1-year deal. Again, possibly if he was willing to do it, a 2-year deal, 2nd-year team option. I think that this would be a phenomenal add to this group. He is a feisty receiver. Love Stephon Diggs. Again, I don't know, if this regime wants to take on some of the other stuff that comes along with him off the field. Deebo Samuel, to me, the one gripe with him is it's never any off-field stuff. I don't want people to think that, he is a guy that brings drama, but again, it's his his work ethic. Is he going to be ready to go in terms of, the gym? This dude sometimes in the offseason, bro, it looks kind of crazy. Like sometimes he pops up and he looks like, William Refrigerator Perry and shit, right? Like he doesn't even look like a wide receiver. You're like, who the fuck is this guy, right? Again, I would bring in Debo on an inexpensive deal if Kubiak believes that he can help, at the wide receiver position. And again, possibly, again, what Shanahan did, use him in the ground game, kind of take a little, wear and tear off of Ashton Genty here in year 2. But again, who would you guys want here? I believe the Raiders are going to target a veteran wide receiver. I've been hearing some things. I think you guys can kind of see the writing on the wall, right? You have a ton of young guys in that room. You need to add a veteran presence. Is it Jawan Jennings? Is it Stephon Diggs? Or is it Debo Samuel? Let me know in the comment section where you guys see this thing going. Again, Jawan Jennings, familiarity with this system, and Clint Kubiak, the same with Debo. Stephon Diggs had a great year in New England, became a leader in that locker room. They made a run to the Super Bowl. He's not the same receiver he once was. The speed is no longer there like it once. What he looked like in Minnesota, what he looked like in Buffalo. Again, father time catches up to you, but he's still one of the best route runners in football. He still has a phenomenal football IQ. Again, I'm not here to sell you guys, anything in terms of the off-field shenanigans. I don't know what the legalities, he's dealing with. And there's a lot of stuff that comes with Stephon Diggs. I understand that, but again, who would you guys possibly want? I think the Raiders need to go out there again and possibly restructure Maxx, possibly restructure Colton Miller, and look to add a veteran wide receiver. The only reason I mentioned Stephon Diggs, you guys, not only did he have over 1,000 yards receiving last year, but he truly became a leader in that locker room. I don't know if you guys seen all the videos. He was definitely one of Vrabel's favorites. All the sideline videos that surfaced and went viral with him, whatever you need from me, I'm willing to do. I loved the thought process that Diggs brought to that New England Patriots football team last year. Really, I don't know if that team makes the Super Bowl last year without a leader like him, a guy that helped really, take Drake May to that next step and become, he was an MVP candidate last year. He was pretty close to winning it last season if Matthew Stafford didn't go absolutely apeshit. So, I'm not against any of these 3 options. I think that Jawan Jennings makes a ton of sense. And I think that right now, it is kind of nasty at 28, 29 years old, taking a 1-year deal. I think this was that perfect time for Jawan Jennings to go out there and fetch that last big deal, but it just did not work out for him. A lot of people went out there and really scoured the offensive line, and spent a lot of money on guards, a lot of money on tackles, centers, i.e. Tyler Linderbaum, that linebacker group here in free agency, a lot of money allocated to that. I think that some of these wide receivers got caught in the crossfire, so to speak, in regards to other positions really being targeted. And now you're looking at Jawan Jennings, Stephon Diggs, Tyreek Hill, which I don't even know if he's going to be ready to go come week 1, and these names still being available because of all this money being allocated to other positions. So we have to bring in one of these guys. Again, you can possibly look at, Kirk, he's out there. He's still available. Christian Kirk, wide receiver. He got his big bag with Jacksonville. It didn't work out. The Texans made a trade, brought him in. He's dealt with some injuries and stuff out there as well, but he's also getting a little long in the tooth. Christian Kirk can be an option for us as well, but we shall see. Salute to my guy Parker, gifting 5 OLV Raiders Network memberships. I appreciate you, my brother. Salute to all the new members here in the building because of my guy Parker, man. Appreciate you. If you guys missed out on those 5, hit the link. It's pinned up top, man. Salute to Alazed. What do you think about Jacoby Lane in the 3rd? I like Jacoby Lane. Big body USC receiver, 6'4", 6'5". Again, I don't know if he's going to be an option for us. What's funny, Alazed? Some people really believe that Jacoby would be is like a 3rd round, 4th round guy because of the measurables. And I think the production really will really take off at the next level. I think that when you watch Jacoby Lane, he is built for the next level. He is built for the NFL. I would not be shocked if he was a late second round guy. Honestly, I would not be shocked if Jacoby, if there's a run on receivers early and then there's possibly another run there early on in the second round, do not be shocked if Jacoby Lane goes in the second round. And at that point, he's off the table for us. So, but if he's there in the third round and they go get him, I would not be against that. You got two big body guys with, Dante Thornton and Jacoby Lane. I would love that with Brock and Mayer at the tight end position. That would be a lot of fun to watch. I'm a really big fan of Jacoby Lane. And again, if he's there in the third round, they want to wait that long. If he's available, or Malachi Fields, another big body, 6'4", guy out of Notre Dame, I'm definitely keeping an eye on, at that point. So let me see. I think I'm caught up in the chat in terms of supers and everything. Alazed, I appreciate you, brother. Salute. Yeah, Josh, that's not happening. There was some rumors of the Rams possibly flirting with the idea of moving on from Davante Adams. He's on the last year of his deal. He led the league in touchdowns last year. I think the Rams would be stupid to move on from Davante Adams. But I believe that the talk was that they were possibly flirting with the idea of moving him for A.J. Brown. The Rams seem as though they're very interested in making a move with Philly. Howie Roseman, they're trying to go all in out there, right? Davante is getting up there in age. Again, he didn't have 1,000 yards receiving last year, but he did lead the league in touchdowns. He was a phenomenal goal line red zone threat for the Rams. Scored a ton of touchdowns last year. But look, man, that ship has sailed, so to speak. Davante will never come home again. He's trying to win one on the way out. I don't know if you guys seen his exit media session where he kind of broke down in tears. When they lost there in the NFC Championship, he was that close. I know that he truly thought that they could win the big one. I wouldn't be shocked if Davante, let's just say that they did flirt with the idea of moving him. Look, Davante wants to win now. Okay, he really wants to win. I wouldn't be shocked if he took less money to stick around with the Rams, because I think they're the early Super Bowl favorites. So, but for A.J. Brown, man, a guy that's 29 years old. You add him into the mix out there with Puka, who needs a new deal also. Look, man, Davante would look good in Philly too. He looked good in Philly too. He can be the number 2 receiver out there. Look, it's not like Philly is a bad situation for him, but the Raiders is no longer an option for him. I know the pictures of Mendoza and Tay, and it's fun to talk about it. But again, there's just no way in hell Davante returns to be a Raider the way that thing ended at all. All right, we talked about that. Some other situations here, you guys. We talked about, Juwan Jennings, a guy that, had a pretty good year last year with the Niners, led them in receiving and touchdowns, 90 targets, 55 receptions. I believe he had 600. What did he have? 643 yards last year. He did miss some time with some injuries. Again, he is available. I'm looking at some of these other names, you guys. Salute to USA Today. Some of the best available options right now. We've talked about Kirk Cousins a ton. I really believe that the Raiders are going to take a look at him if the asking price is right, because of the familiarity with Clint Kubiak, their time in Minnesota. We need a backup, quarterback. If he is, cheap, and I know that Atlanta owes him, I think, somewhere in that 10 million range or north of 10 million. If he comes in at a minimum, I definitely believe the Raiders will bring in Kirk Cousins. It just makes a ton of sense. Looking at some of these other options, Joey Bosa, no. I believe he'll be a Niner here soon. They'll finally pair him with his brother out there in Santa Clara. Bobby Wagner, hell no, 36 years old. There's no way, no reason. You just paid a ton of money for Nakobe Dean and Quay Walker. Makes no sense at all. Talked about Stephon Diggs, a guy that had a really good season out there for New England. Talked about Debo. No need to bring in a Jadeveon Clowney. I believe he will. He's going to be 33 years old this year. I think he will remain with the Cowboys. They'll bring him back at some point. Other than that, man, not really a ton of big name guys that are available out there. But I wanted to speak to you guys in terms of the running back position, right? Brian Robinson Jr., a former a guy that was drafted pretty high from the Commanders, played for the 49ers last year. I think that he is more of a running back too. I wouldn't be upset if the Raiders possibly took a look at him. He's only 26 years old. He'll be 27, I believe, this month. A guy that, again, not going to give you a ton, a ton. Last year he had 400 yards on 92 attempts. He had 2 touchdowns. He had 8 catches last year, averaged over 4 a clip, 4.3 exactly. He is an intriguing name to look at, to bring in as a veteran. It's kind of a stopgap running back too, to Ashton Genty. Najee Harris, again, a guy that we've spoken about a lot, who just turned 28 years old, coming off of missing the entire season, coming off a nasty injury. But before this, you guys remember, he missed no football. A guy that always had over 1,000 yards receiving in Pittsburgh, his first 4 seasons, was durable as all get up. I don't believe he missed a game until this last season. Again, Northern California guy, born in Martinez, raised in Antioch, very familiar with, this Raiders football team. What would you guys think about a Brian Robinson Jr. or a Najee Harris? There are some other intriguing names possibly available out there. You can look at Nick Chubb. He's also going to, getting up there in age. He's 30 years old. Played for the Texans last year. They moved on. They made a move and brought David Montgomery in. So they no longer need Nick Chubb's services out there. But we talked about Brian Robinson. What do you guys think about the running back position here? Is there any other names, any other intriguing names to possibly bring in through free agency? Remember, none of these guys are going to cost you an arm and a leg at the running back position. Brian Robinson Jr. should be very cheap. Look at some of these guys. Look at Rachaad White, what he got with the Commanders. A 1-year, $2 million deal. These running backs are not getting paid anything in free agency. You can possibly bring in a Najee Harris on a very, very inexpensive 1-year deal. Again, coming off that, nasty injury. But again, if it works, man, he's a big body running back, kind of about that thunder and lightning with Ashton Genty. I would love to bring in Najee Harris. If healthy, if he could pass his physical, if he's ready to go come week 1, that'd be a great pickup. I like Brian Robinson, but again, Brian Robinson is Brian Robinson. Najee Harris is still, up to last year, right? He was still, one of the, I don't want to say greatest running backs in football right now, but one of the better running backs. He's durable. And again, always gives you over 1,000 yards receiving. He can also, help you in the passing game as well. What do you think about a Najee Harris coming in and being that number 2 guy to Ashton Genty? Salute the damage. I'd take one on a budget. Older receivers like luxury. We have that in our facilities and city accommodations. Come ball out and get paid by somebody else. Vegas is Cancun year round for them. Talk that talk, damage. Salute to my guy, man. Appreciate you on a $10 smackaroonie. And again, New England paid, Stefan a shit ton of money. So I'm not here to act as though Stefan took a hometown discount. They paid him a lot of money to go out there and be New England's number 1 receiver. Again, he wasn't really a true number 1 receiver in New England, but a guy that had over 1,000 yards receiving, still had a really, really good season for him. He wouldn't cost you that this offseason because of, the legal stuff, because of some of the off-field stuff. I think that a lot of teams are kind of thrown off by some of the stuff that Stefan Diggs, some of the baggage he brings. He wouldn't cost you an arm and a leg. I don't think at this point. I think Juwan Jennings would probably be the most expensive out of the 3, Debo, and Juwan Jennings, but again, Juwan's going to cost you possibly, and maybe throw some incentives in there. At this point, what would he cost you guys? What do you think? A 1-year deal, maybe up to $15 million, up to possibly. I didn't see that. Keaton Mitchell went to the Chargers. That's a good pickup for them. That's a really good pickup for them. I think that he'll be really good with Mike McDaniel. I hate that move for the Chargers, man. Oh, I hate that, man. That is a good move. Keaton Mitchell, that is a really, really good move for Mike McDaniel. They got Alec Ingold. Hold on. I'm live right now, brother. I hit you back. Salute to my brother Wasted, calling right in the middle of the show. Scared the absolute shit out of me. But man, that's a good pickup, man. Alec Ingold. They got, Amarion Hampton. They got Keaton Mitchell. That is a good good situation for Mike McDaniel. They're going to run the football a ton out there. Wow. I did not see that. I didn't see that news. Give me a Cam Taylor Britt for cheap at the cornerback position. Okay. Salute to my guy, Willie D, man. Okay. Salute to Just Win, baby. Kubiak is the most exciting thing. Allows Spy to draft the best players or best at players instead of what Pete wanted. Talk that talk, my brother. Talk that talk. And the thing is this, right? We have some needs. But honestly, what is the biggest need on this roster right now? They rebuilt that second level of our defense. Honestly, there's just a few spots. I think we have a ton of depth at the defensive tackle position, you guys. I know some of you guys may not agree with me. You got Thomas Booker, you got JJ Pegues, you got Adam Butler. The list goes on. Jonah Lalu, always butcher his name as well. But you need a nose tackle. You need you definitely need a free safety. Got to add another safety here through the draft. But what else? I mean, you can possibly add another tackle, right? Maybe add another tackle. I like our depth at the guard position. I know a lot of you guys may not agree. We need some more depth at the cornerback position. I think that Darian Porter is going to be great in year 2. Opposite of Eric Stokes is, again, I think that DCAM can show, potentially some life there as that third or fourth option at the cornerback position as well. You added Teron Johnson, which is great. Raid, right? A running back too, but you can get that done right here through free agency if you really wanted to. You can add a veteran guy like a Najee Harris or Brian Robinson, and then you don't really have to worry about attacking that in the draft, and then go bring in a UDFA to battle it out in camp. So Laki Tassi, what is he going to be, Franklin? Right? I don't even know, Skinner. What is Laki Tassi going to be at this point? Do they look at him as a guard, possibly down the line? He's a developmental guy. Are they going to put him back on the defensive side of the football? What do we have with him? I don't know. But again, you can really go into this draft and just go get talent. Go get talent. Yes, we need a safety. Yes, we need a nose tackle and possibly a few other spots there. But just go get BPA. I want Spy Tech to go out there in the draft. Just go BPA. Get best player available on your boards. We need an influx of talent. Yes, we can use an upgrade at that safety group with Palomau and Chin. Yes, we can possibly use an upgrade at right tackle if they believe Grant's not ready to go yet and they think that Glaze is better suited at the guard position. We can. But again, just go BPA. Go BPA and just add a bunch of talent to this roster and we'll be a better football team. Hey, Seuss, Ford signed with the Commanders. Jerome Ford went to the Commanders. He's right now their third running back on that depth chart. So they brought Rashad White in. They brought Ford in. They brought back one of their own running backs. I think that Jerome Ford is their third running back on their roster right now. And I don't even think they're done at that spot yet. If somehow, some way, Jeremiah Love falls to 7, if he falls, I'm not saying he will because I think he's a Titan. But again, keep an eye on them. Keep an eye on them. Their young quarterback is injury prone right now. They need a really good run game, to keep him healthy and a security blanket, right? Run that football. So, but he is a Commander. Salute to my guy, Just Win, baby. But again, go BPA, man. I don't want to just go into this draft and just addressing, needs at certain positions just for the sake of doing so. Chin is a starter in the NFL. Palomau, on the other hand, they're playing him out of position, right? Again, if they think that they can go get a corner 1 at 36, I wouldn't be upset, you guys. What if they think that Darian Porter is better suited, just more of a rotational guy right now, and they think that Eric Stokes is a corner 2? He had a really good year last year. I'm not here to sell you on Stokes being, a corner 2, but what if those guys drops right there? What if Colton Hood is available at 36 and they think that he can be the number 1 corner moving forward, right? Just go get BPA. Just get as much talent as you can, get an influx of talent, and then put the pieces together once you get all those guys in the building. But again, it's great to see what they did in free agency because, again, there's not so many, you're not like, oh, my God, there's so many holes in this roster. There really isn't. They love this young group on that offensive side of the football in terms of the line. We definitely need a wide receiver 1, but again, this may be a situation where they're just going to get all these guys involved. It could be a committee at the receiver position, and Brock Bowers is the number one guy. So, we'll see. Salute to Just Win, baby. I appreciate you. Salute to my guy, Rube, as well. Appreciate you, man, on the $5 smackaroonie. I think one of the top free safeties will fall to 36. Hopefully, Oregon one is there. Okay, Dylan, just based off positional value. Okay. Man, if I'm telling you now, man, if Emmanuel McNeil Warren is available, Rube, if somehow, some way those teams in the first round allow him to slip through that first round and he's available there at 36, I'm telling you, dog, Rube, that is the guy, bro. I like Dylan a lot. I think Dylan's going to be a first round guy. I think Minnesota is going to go get their next Harrison Smith. Honestly, I think that he'll be in the 20s range somewhere. I think he'll be off the board there. But if Emmanuel McNeil drops, oh my God. It's Spivey. I'm cool with that. But again, there's still going to be some nose tackles available there in the third round for us also. Don't believe that all those guys are going to be gone, there in the second round. One of those guys, a few of those guys are going to slip through the cracks and be available there in the third. Right now, I have been taking a nose tackle at 36 a ton. But I do believe that one of those guys, one of those bigger name guys, will be available there in the third round. And you don't really have to just jump the gun to get your nose tackle at 36. If there's a potential wide receiver one at 36, go get him. If one of those, again, if you believe that Dunker can be that guard and you don't want to wait until the third round and you think that he may not make it there, then go get your guard of the future there with Dunker. I'm not using 36 specifically on a nose tackle just for the sake of going to get a nose tackle because we need one. Take one of the better players available. Get your BPA there at 36. Look, I'm running to the board if you can get a starting safety there like McNeil or like Dylan. Again, a wide receiver one possibly. But don't just get a nose tackle there just for the sake of getting a nose tackle. Now, if you believe you can get a star at 36, if you think that Caden McDonald can be that guy or Lee Hunter, if you think those guys can be stars at 36 and definitely be one of those big critical pieces that you can add in the middle of that defensive line to be, a cornerstone for you for years to come, then go ahead and do it. Go ahead and do it. But I'm not just taking a nose at 36 just for the sake of taking a nose tackle there at 36. So, all right, we talked about this. We talked about Brian Robinson, talked about Najee Harris. We talked about the top available. Talked about Juwan Jennings. Talked about Stephon Diggs. Talked about Deebo Samuel as well. And once again, you guys, this is just us kind of talking about possibly looking at something. There's no rumors at all with Deebo Samuel being a Raider. There's no, Juwan Jennings is just, to me, it's like a plug and play type of guy, because of the familiarity with Clint Kubiak and what he does in the run game in terms of blocking. But there's no real smoke centered around him possibly being a Raider. I've seen some reports of the Chargers possibly. I know there was some cap to it. Somebody put it out to the Chargers or bringing him in on a one-year deal. That wasn't true. I can definitely see the Titans possibly. They have a ton of money left and they still have a need at the receiver position. I can see them paying him to bring him in and be one of those security blankets for Cam Ward in year 2. But again, we're just kind of talking about what some of these guys could possibly look like in Las Vegas. No real rumors tied to a Deebo, Juwan Jennings, or any of that. Talked about that. And again, you guys, according to Over the Cap, $24.7 million right now. $24.7 million available right now. So Pregnon, the guard at Oregon at 36. Young, I'm not mad about that. Not mad about that. The thing is, Alzado, there was a trigger, I believe, in his contract last Friday. It looks as though Jalen Ramsey will remain a Pittsburgh Steeler. I know some Pittsburgh people were like, "Oh, he's not going anywhere," kind of going crazy on one of my posts on Twitter. But again, they can still possibly move on from him before the draft. There's so many things that can happen with Jalen Ramsey. Again, he's a veteran. If he feels that he doesn't like what they're putting together out there in Pittsburgh, he could possibly move on. A guy that I think a ton of us can agree on should have been a Raider a long time ago. He wanted to be a Raider. He said it in several interviews. But again, Last Friday, I believe there was a trigger with the guaranteed money for this upcoming season. But again, there still possibly could be a move for him. We're not trading for him. I'm not picking up that contract. That shit is nasty. So definitely wouldn't do that. And again, he's up there in age. He played some safety for them last year. It looks as though he's kind of getting to that tail end of his career where he's making that transition from the cornerback position to the safety spot, again, but we'll see. We'll see. Hey, Mom, salute to my mom in the chat. Love you so much. Salute to my mom in the chat, man. Always good to see my mama in the building. Raider for life. Tyree Wilson at defensive tackle with Maxx and Pay and Kuntz as a rotational at edge. I see Tyree better in the middle than I see him at edge. Your opinion? I disagree. I think in this 3-4 defense, I think he's going to be a defensive end. But, you never know. Raider Nation for life. We really, truly don't know legacy, like where they see him at. In a 4-3, it's a little different. Right now in this scheme, I see him as more of a defensive end. So, but hey, man, you never know. Rob Leonard may see him better, is a better fit, in the interior of that line. Well, we shall see. But I have him more as a rotational guy, rotational defensive end. He's not going to start. I don't think he's going to start unless he goes out and has a crazy camp. And, but he's more of a defensive end in this system, in my heart of hearts. So, but we'll see. We'll see. Let me see. Get some questions in, you guys. About to hit that hour mark. Just kind of wanted to hang out with my people for a little while. It's not a lot going on in the NFL. I don't know if you guys seen it. Justin Fields was traded to the Chiefs for a future 6th rounder. I think a 2027 6th round pick. It sounds like Justin Fields chose the Chiefs. He told the Jets that he would like to make that move. Again, Patrick Mahomes, dealing with that injury. I'm hearing that he'll possibly be ready to go week 1. But if not, this would be a good situation for Justin Fields to come in and possibly just take all the reps during training camp and all that good stuff, and allow Patrick Mahomes to kind of get right, get healthy a little bit more. I'm assuming that he's going to be ready come week 1. But Justin Fields is a Chief, you guys. So I don't know how you guys feel about that. Really hasn't panned out. Didn't pan out in Chicago. It seemed, he was kind of getting his footing together in Pittsburgh. They chose to go Aaron Rodgers. He went to the Jets and was put in a really, really bad situation. And he lost his job out there with them as well. And it looks as though they parted ways with him. 2027 6th round pick. So he is on the move, and he is now in the AFC West to be the backup for Patrick Mahomes. Again, Minshew signed with Arizona, so they lost their backup in free agency. It looks as though they went and got their guy, Justin Fields, to back him up. So we'll see what that looks like. Do you think we will focus on offense during the draft? I think we should. I think we're going to focus on both, Chef. I think it's going to be a blend of both. Originally, before we had this crazy free agency period where we just went out and got Teron and N'Kobe and Quay and all those guys, I thought that we were going to just utilize the draft for the defensive side of the football. I think this is going to be a blend of both. I think you're going to get your quarterback you're going to get your quarterback at 1. 36 is still the most intriguing pick that we have there, because there's going to be some talent that's going to drop out of the first round, and you can possibly get a stud. So that can be defense or offense. We shall see. I don't know where they go in terms of that, but we still need a receiver, right? You can possibly add a guard or a tackle. And then at that point, you got to get some corner help. You got to go get that nose tackle. You got to get a safety. I think this is going to be a blend of both. I think it's going to be a blend of both, Chef. Definitely. AC, I love Zach Branch. I do. If he's there in the 3rd round and they feel that that's the place to pull the trigger on him, go get him. I know a lot of people think that he's a screen merchant and so on and so forth. I think he would be dynamic in this Clint Kubiak offense. Some people think he's undersized. I don't give a shit. He can be a great special teams player for you, returning kicks, and a guy that has home run ability every time he touches the football. So, So I'm all for Zach Branch. I would love for him to fall to the 4th round. You can get him there in the 4th with one of those forests. But if you want Zach Branch, I would pull the trigger there in the 3rd round. Yeah, man. It's looking nasty out there, Rich. But again, I think that this is kind of a mulligan year for Arizona. They still have Jacoby Brissett. They got, Minshew out there now as well. They're looking towards the future. They're looking towards the future at the quarterback position. 2027 is going to be the year they find their guy. It'd be funny, Ridge. What if Arch went to Arizona and then him and Harrison, were that duo again, the Manning Harrison duo in Indianapolis? Could you imagine Arch going to Arizona with him and Marvin Harrison Jr.? That would be absolutely bonkers to see that kind of be a full circle kind of moment. That would be wild. But Arizona is kind of they want to get through 2026 and get to 2027. Telling you now, them and the Jets have 3 first rounders though. So they got their pick of the litter. Whoever they want the quarterback position, they're going to get. Just is what it is. They can trade up. They can, whatever the hell they want to do. They have all the ammunition to go get their quarterback of the future next year. So salute to my guy, Chef, man. Thanks for going live on my birthday, man. Happy birthday, brother. Get to listen to my favorite Raider YouTuber on my birthday, Raider Nation for life. I appreciate those kind words, my brother, but happy birthday, man. Salute to my guy, Chef Curry. If you guys can in the comment section, let our brother know happy birthday, man. You love to see it, man. That's dope. That's dope. Happy birthday, King. Alex, and salute to my brother Hug in the building as well. Fields would strive in a Taysom Hill type role. Also, what did Brant say about Maxx? I really don't know. You know what's funny? I didn't say this on Twitter. I kind of shared it and just said, Maxx is going to be pissed. I don't know if you guys seen this. You know what? Let me show you. For those who do not know what we're talking about here. Let me get this off the screen. Stop sharing. Boom, boom. Wipe them feet, y'all. Hit them thumbs up. There was a message right here from Kyle Brandt. Good Morning Football, where Maxx put noted clown emoji. And then, Kyle put, I don't know what you noted, Maxx. So I don't know what this means or what. Honestly, I really think that Maxx accidentally put the clown emoji. I really do. I could be totally wrong. And I might hit Maxx up and I want to see what did you mean to do that? Because I think what he meant to do was put noted and then put the note sign. I know he said something about Baltimore. Kyle has always been pretty cool in regards to the Raiders. I don't think that he's really said a lot of bad things about anything in regards to the Raiders. Honestly, he's been kind of always one of those fair media type guys when it comes to this football team. I don't really think I never heard him talk a lot of smack about the Raiders. And honestly, coming off one of the worst seasons, coming off the worst season in the NFL last year. I mean, shit. We're a bad football team. Shit. I mean, keep it real. Keep it a buck. I think that Kyle has been one of the more neutral guys speaking about the Raiders. But I don't know. He could have said some slick shit that Maxx is privy to. I don't know. I kind of feel like Maxx just meant to say noted and then put the note emoji and possibly accidentally put the clown, the clown emoji. I could be wrong here. Again, I do not know. And then he said, I genuinely want to know why, what was noted. You can't be all fast and loose throwing that out, throwing those clown emojis. Is it because I said the Ravens only let Crosby go because of Trey Hendrickson? So again, if he did say that, I agree with Kyle. They definitely let Maxx walk because they wanted to keep their first round picks and they thought that Trey Hendrickson, was actually a possibility. So, Hug, basement dwellers, will they ever be good? I mean, he's not lying. Bro, we've been worse than our division for the last few seasons. We are basement dwellers. If that's what he said, there's no lie. There's no lie to that. Will they ever be good? Shit, we ask that shit all the time. And I know we're fans, right? So we can kind of speak about our team and not allow others to speak bad about our football team. But again, we say this every year. Are we ever going to be good? We're definitely basement dwellers. We've been the worst team in our division for several years now. So, but I've always kind of had respect for him. I've never really heard Kyle, jump on the whole Raiders hate bandwagon. Whatever he said, if that's what he said, that's just complete facts. That's complete fact. We're basement dwellers. Will we ever be good? Shit. We ask the same shit every day. So, but again, if Maxx put this, I love this because we want a Mad Maxx, no pun intended. We want a Mad Maxx. We want a guy to go out there this year and to prove all the naysayers wrong. We want him to have an all-pro season, not a second team, a first team all-pro. I want Maxx to go out there and have 15 plus sacks this season and continue to play the run at a high level. I want him to go out there, get healthy this offseason, and absolutely ball out. So, but we'll see. I don't know. I don't know what this means. I'm not going to sit here and act as though I do know what this means either. So, but, let me get this out of here. Salute to my brother Justin Churchill over on Twitter sharing this. All right, I want to see if I can bring up. And look at Maxx, man. Maxx is sharing stuff with the Raiders jersey. He's hyped. He's pumped, man. He is really hyped right now. All right, this is my latest mock draft, you guys. Before we get out of here, I want to talk about this. And let me see what who's on Twitter right now. I see that box. Oh, my God. Teams. 1 second, y'all. Hold up. All right, boom. All right, what do you guys think about this? What do you think about this? Fernando at 1. Caden McDonald, big body nose out of Ohio State. Again, you know, he has first-round talent written all over him. But again, he's been available a ton at 36. So guess what? I said, you know what? Emmanuel McNeil was off the board. So I went and got the best nose tackle available right there. You know, Elijah Surratt, 67. Again, a guy that had a few drops there in that playoff run. And Omar Cooper, you know, his name started to rise a lot more than Elijah Surratt. But I like Surratt there at 67. If he's available, I personally it'd be him or Malachi Fields. I know that these two guys are not the same as Zach Branch. Those would be the three names that I would look at there in the third round would be Elijah Surratt, the familiarity with Fernando Mendoza, Malachi Fields. I think he is an absolute stud. If he's there in the third round, I would not be mad if they went and got him at 67. And then Zach Branch there at 67 as well. When they got Drew Shelton, a guy, is he going to play guard at the next level? Is he going to play tackle at the next level? Does not matter. A guy that is versatile and, you know, bring him into camp and have him battle it out at both spots. And a good depth piece for you on the O-line at 102. Kyle Lewis at 117, one of the highest risers in this upcoming class, a guy that went out there, Shrine, I think he was at the Senior Bowl as well, and just absolutely killed it. He is starting to gain a ton of notoriety around, you know, what he's been able to do this past season at Pittsburgh, but also, you know, at the Shrine and Senior Bowl. Nicholas Singleton there at 134. I went running back a little earlier than what I've been doing. I've been looking at Jaden Ott there in the 7th round, but I said, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and get another guy that has home run ability at 134. You know, I think with him and Ashton Genty, this could be an absolute disgusting 1-2 punch. At 175, I went and got Thaddeus Dixon, 6'1", I believe 6'1", corner out of North Carolina. I know a lot of people may think I waited way too long to get some safety and corner help. I agree. But again, I just kind of played the board the way the board fell. Jeff Caldwell, big body, 6'5" wide receiver out of Cincinnati there at 185, a wasted guy. You know, waste is high on him. Added some, you know, 2 more bodies there. Elijah, what is he, 6'2"? 6'2". Went and got you another big body guy in Jeff Caldwell that can help you on the boundary at 6'5". He is, again, his 40 was insane. I think he ran like a, 4.28, somewhere along those lines. I was there. I got a chance to watch him. Speedster, big body guy. Him and Dante Thornton would be fun to watch together, you know, in Raider jerseys. It'd be really, really dope. TJ Hall, another 6'1", corner out of Iowa that I got a chance to watch at the combine. So I went double dip there at the corner position at 175 and 208. And then I got Jacoby Thomas there, the safety out of Miami, a guy that'll probably help you early on in special teams that could potentially add some depth there at the safety position for you in the 7th round at 219. So what do you guys think about this draft class? Let me know in the comments section. Omni was somewhere around there, 427, 428. Let me see. I want to see Jeff Caldwell 40 time. 431. 43. I thought it was quicker than that. But 431. Still fast as shit, especially at 6'5", 217. Dude is a physical specimen. He can definitely add some value for us at the wide receiver position, man. So again, I like this. Hey, man, why not, Omni? Why not? Why not, right? I mean, look, I know Fernando loves competition. And why not bring in a guy that has something to do with, unlocking unlocking that dog in him moving forward? I mean, shit. Think about it, Omni. I mean, Jacoby Thomas really helped Indiana win that national championship. Shit, he got hit and said, okay, you know what? We're going to go out here and cook. Salute to Dangerfield. Fowler out here trying to say a trade with Maxx before the draft to Seattle. Look, man, I seen Jeremy Fowler put a few things, it's talking about it's not a foregone conclusion that he's going to be a Raider, right? I get it. I mean, bro, there are some chances here that possibly they move on before the draft. There may be a team that gets desperate, i.e. Seattle, Dallas. I'm telling you now, I mean, if you could still somehow, some way find a way to get, 12 and 20, which is a pipe dream at this point, especially after failing his physical. But, there may be a desperate team that comes calling before the draft, and maybe Spy taking those, in our brass, pull the trigger. We shall see. I don't know. But I believe that everybody's on the same page right now. I think right now there's still some healing being done. In another couple of weeks, I think they're going to all be over this shit, and they'll just move on, and Maxx will be a Raider, and he's going to be one of the better football players on our team. Honestly. So I'm not mad about that. We said go get Lance. Okay. Out of South Dakota. Okay. Trey Lance's brother. Dude's a beast. Not against that. Not against that at all. All right. Other than that, you guys, I'm going to spend some time with my boys. This is their last day on spring break. I thought they were going back to school today, but it was like a teacher's day for them to get situated before tomorrow. North Dakota. Okay. Yeah, North Dakota. South Dakota, North Dakota. One of them shits. North Dakota. I'm always get confused by the North Dakota, South Dakota shit. But I'm going to spend some time with the boys. We will be back. The draft talks begin this week, you guys. We are definitely about to jump into our draft bag. So stay tuned. Me and Wasted, we definitely have our, Todd McSlay and Mel Piper Jr. show on the way this week, you guys. So stay tuned. We definitely have a lot to unpack as now we are officially in draft season. So stay tuned for that. And as always, man, thank you guys so much for the continued support. Thank you guys so much for allowing me to get to 30K subscribers. We're already now almost to, I think we're almost to 30.1. Again, you guys are just absolutely going bonkers. I appreciate you so much for making this month already. It's the 16th? One of the biggest months that we've ever had here at OLV Raiders Network. In over 5 years of me doing this, January was our biggest month. This is already our biggest month up, and it's the 16th already because of you guys. So salute to you guys for always, always, always making this platform what it is. I owe all the glory to God and to you guys for making this channel what it is. But other than that, man, as always, appreciate you guys so much. See you very soon. And also, we're going to be dropping a ton of short content as well, you guys. Stay tuned. We're going to be dropping some short videos leading up to lives. We're going to kind of jab, and hit you with some live haymakers. So expect a ton of short content videos on the way as well from Shieldmore. We want to definitely start kind of highlighting some of these collegiate guys as we get into the draft. So stay tuned for that. Love y'all. Appreciate y'all. On the way out, wipe them feet. Hit that subscribe button. I'm out. One.